Welcome to Basic Business AI, a podcast dedicated to simple AI strategies for businesses who don't want to get an advanced tech degree or hire some marketing bro. I'm your host, Ana Gonzalez, and you can find me on social media at AnnaBotPrime. We bring in regular business owners like you and me to discuss practical strategies, ideas, and perspectives about AI without getting too far into the weeds of the tech. BBAI is sponsored by AnnaBots. Did you know companies that respond to customer inquiries in less than a minute have a 400% higher chance of closing the deal? Our AI-powered assistants have an average response time of 9 seconds, meaning you can close more sales without generating more leads. No tech skills are needed, and you can get started in less than 10 minutes. Go to annabots.ai to learn more. Once more, that's annabots.ai. Today's guest is Barrett Young. Barrett is a CPA and the marketing partner in a 15-person CPA firm in Southern Maryland. Their firm focuses on succession planning for multi-generational businesses, and they've been using AI in varying applications since 2018. So, Barrett, welcome to Basic Business AI.
Thanks for having me, Anna.
Great to have you. So, from your perspective, how is AI reshaping the future of your industry?
I think one of the biggest ways that it's reshaping the future for our industry is just in the ability to search deeper than surface level. So, we're taking the CPA exam and just looking at the tax code. We're taught how to search, but we're not taught really how to dig beneath those results and then pull something from over here and add it over here and synthesize it. That just comes with experience of dealing with case studies and client situations. And I think AI is really short-circuiting that a little bit, or making that faster, especially for our staff.
Awesome. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so I was commenting to my partner the other day. I was like, AI, specifically a CPA focused or tax focused AI that we've just started using in the past couple of months, called Ask Blue Jay. I said, this is like the manager I always wanted growing up. It's an AI platform that only uses the federal tax code and court cases and actual real world and legal sources for its analysis. So it's not going out like GPT would in order to Google and find out what the internet has to say. It's actually going to the first, primary sources. So I said to my partner, I said, this is, the manager I always wanted, somebody I could ask questions of any time of day. They'd never look at me like I was stupid. Like, how do you not already know this? And then when I get the answer from it, I can drill into it and ask it, well, okay, but what if I change this? How would you then respond? And so I think, we're rolling that out to our entire staff before this next tax season. And I just think that's going to make learning so much faster for our team.
I love what you were saying. I have noticed for myself, I just learned about this platform that you were talking about.
Okay.
But I've noticed for myself that when I use platforms like ChatGPT or Anthropic, I love learning. Like, I have an obsession for learning, and it has helped me learn more and faster. But it also comes with this risk of asking something and getting something that is new, that is not true, So we should be careful about what we ask, how we ask it, and the instruction to ask it. Make sure that this is true, verifiable, and accessible. I love that the platform that you're using has the actual tax code so that you have accurate information.
Yeah, that's the hard part for us, training our staff to use that. That's why we're in the middle of writing a policy. How we approach using AI is not just accepting that first response from, even if you are using something that goes to primary sources like Ask Blue Jay. What comes from experience is understanding, okay, that's a good answer, but it's not a complete answer, or it's not the best answer.
Right.
And you can tell when somebody just takes the first response that ChatGPT spits out, because with experience comes the wisdom to understand nuance, to understand situations. You know, we have an issue in our profession with people taking tax advice off of TikTok. And the
Mm,
information's always been there, but just somebody on TikTok is now putting it in an entertaining format, and they're coming to their professionals with, "Oh, I just found out this new thing." I, as a professional with 20 years of experience in the field, am able to say, well, technically that might be true, but it's not a full story. And here's why might actually not be optimal for your situation. If you just approach AI without that discernment that comes from experience, then you are just going to say, oh, wow, it just wrote a blog post for me. I've never studied what good writing is. And so I assume that ChatGPT is going to say this is good writing. And so I'm just going to publish this.
right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and it's not.
No, it's not.
You can tell.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever heard that the analogy of the best way to recognize counterfeit money is to study real money. But that's kind of what I've been thinking of with this. The best way to study terrible writing is to study good writing. The best way to study to recognize terrible tax advice is to study good tax advice.
Hmm.
And I think that that's what it's going to require from my staff in order for them to continue to be competitive. That's what it's going to be required from me. That's what it's going to require from my clients who are going to gain access to this at some point, is study good tax advice so that you can recognize the bad, study good writing so that you can recognize the bad. And that's what we have to train them in, the critical thinking, the logic, and the discernment. That's what ChatGPT is great. I'm not bashing ChatGPT. I love it because at 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm up at night, I can ask it to give me 60 ideas for a YouTube video,
Yeah.
and 58 of them might be bad. But by knowing what a good YouTube video looks like, I can go through that list and I don't have to think of the 58 bad ideas in order to get the 2 good ones.
Right. Right. I love it. Um, and also everything, all the input, actually all the output that you get depends on the input that you put there.
Mhm.
Uh, so yes, because training all your staff about what a good input will be is helpful for them to get the output that you're looking for.
Certainly. Yeah. That's why we like Ask Blue Jay, is because it's already filtered through the inputs and said, we're only going to pull from these inputs. Now the next level is, well, don't just assume because it pulls from only these inputs that what it gives
Right.
you the first time is going to be, is going to be the correct answer.
Right. I love it. So what are some general ideas or some concerns or misunderstandings in your industry that you have heard or seen with respect to AI?
Yeah, I think it comes down to two sides of the discussion. One side is AI is going to replace us entirely. And so you have people that are like, why even get into accounting? Because AI is just going to do everything that accountants do.
Mm,
I think that that's false. Like I just said, there's going to be a place for discernment. There's going to be a place for wisdom to interpret the AI.
yeah.
The other side of it is AI is terrible. And look at the results I got. They asked it a simple question. They'd never worked on their prompts. They never, when I ask ChatGPT something, I type like 4 paragraphs of
Mhm.
instructions in to get an initial response. And then I'll drill into that 2, 3, 4 times before I'm happy with it. But if you just ask it a question and it gives you something very generic, you can point to that and say, I tried it and it was dumb. It didn't work. And I think that that's the two concerns that I have for my profession. The one side that's going to freak out and it's going to replace us all. And so we just should ban it. And then the other side that says that it's dumb and it's never going to compete with a real CPA.
Hmm.
And so I'm just going to ignore it.
Well, I saw some headlines a couple months ago about the internet, that it was just going to be a fad. And look at us now.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, every profession has gone through this. There are going to be tools that come along that they take away some tasks, but those aren't the tasks that I enjoy doing anyways. Like I look forward to a future where AI is going to help me with tax planning, where I can feed information in multiple scenarios across multiple families within a small business.
Yeah.
And it's going to point me in the right direction of, oh, you didn't consider this, or you didn't consider that, or you should consider this. That's what I look forward to, so that I can then have that discussion with a client. But I spend so much of my time right now building out the spreadsheets, building out the models, verifying the information, having to double check everything. I spend 95% of the time doing that just to get to the conversation, where the conversation is the actual value to the client. It's not the hours that I put into building the spreadsheet that's the value. It's the conversation that gets to the result they're looking for.
Yes. You have no idea how excited I am. I'm containing it.
I am very excited too, because I did not get into this profession to track every single hour down to 15 minutes for how long it took me to figure out something in Excel. So if it can get me past that to get to the conversations with the clients, that's what I look forward to.
Yes, that's exactly it. Like, yes, I mean, it will replace you if you want for, tasks that are repetitive. But for the actual thing that, like the human connection, that the wisdom, the creativity, there's nothing like a human.
Yeah. Yeah. If you are staying at the level where all you know how to do is build the model, is do the spreadsheet, is data entry, is bill by the hour of it took me 6 hours to do this, and so your bill is X. If that's all you want to stay at, then yes, you're going to be replaced by that, because somebody's going to be able to do it faster and cheaper. You're not adding any value by a human doing that versus a computer. I mean, ledgers, accounting used to be done on big old long green sheets of paper, and it would be everything, single thing would be run down and ticked and tallied and everything like that. And then, spreadsheets came along, and then eventually like QuickBooks and other online accounting software came along, and now QuickBooks Online pulls in bank feeds. And so that just took away the hours and hours and hours that used to all be done on paper very manually. And so that's if your entire business model is built on the time that it takes to do all that grunt work, well, then yes, you are going to be replaced. But I think people in every profession are going to shift and find that higher value work.
Yeah, we're going to evolve into higher value tasks and just monitor whatever the AI is doing.
Yeah, and I think my profession is in a good position for that, because we've always said this is a relational business. And if we can lean into that, there's a really good book I loved. I read it 10 years ago. It solved this question for me. It's Jeff Colvin, and it's Humans Are Underrated. And he says, even if a computer or AI is able to do all the medical tests necessary, we still want a human doctor to tell us that we have cancer.
Yes.
We don't want to read that on a printout. And that solved this question for me.
That is awesome. Wow. I loved it. And I'm going to leave it here. So, Barrett, tell us about who you serve and how people can reach out to you.
Yeah. So our firm specializes in succession businesses. So businesses that are transitioning from the first generation partner to the second generation or the third generation partner. Our YouTube channel is at GWCPAS. And I have a podcast that I launched last month called The Art of Succession.
The Art of Succession? Okay.
And those are interviews with business owners that have purchased their company from somebody else.
Perfect. So we're going to wrap from here. Thanks to our guest, Barrett Young, for joining us for a practical conversation about AI and its potential for business. You can learn more about what he does by visiting his podcast, The Art of Succession. If you're in a business of any size and you have some ideas or strategies around the topic of AI, we'd love to have you in a future episode as well. We interview business owners of all levels of experience and exposure to AI, so we can represent all voices, especially the 90% of us who are curious about AI, but not trying to get into the weeds and be tech geniuses. Apply for a future episode by going to basicbusinessai.com. And one more time, if you want to install a 24/7 AI sales and support team for less than 10% of the cost of a single employee, get yourself an Anabot. Learn more at anabots.ai. See you next time on Basic Business AI. Oh, by the way, if you like this episode, tell your friends. See you later.